Good afternoon, friends. You are listening to Full Toss on Radio Dil, online radiodil.com for iPhone downloads, application known as Radio Dil. You can also listen to us on your regular phones, dialing the number 408-418-5000. Once again, that is 408-418-5000 for Android phones, application known as Tune Radio. Phone number in the studio, 732-800-1008. That is 732-800-1008. आप सुन रहे रेडियो दिल, दिल से दिल तक. Time in the studio is 2 o'clock. Today is August 18th, 2012. This is your host. Would like to welcome all the listeners, and above all, Amanath, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you very much, Amit. It's a wonderful, beautiful day in New Jersey. Perfect for cricket.
We had a bit of a rough weather last night.
Yeah, yes, a bit of a rains and all that. So
yes, indeed. But right now, all skies are clear.
Yes.
And Amanath, let me also take this opportunity to welcome our guest in the studio today. I should not be calling him he's a guest. He's actually part of our show. He's featured on Full Toss many times in the past, and we have seen his league perform. We have been to their matches also.
Yes.
And just last week, I think you had said that they're a bunch of exciting cricketers.
Absolutely.
That's the word you had used on air.
Exciting, full of passion.
Full of passion.
Full of fire.
Well, another passionate cricketer who's present with us in the studio, president of the NJSPCL League, that is the New Jersey Softball Cricket League, Avinash Ghazi. Avinash, welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks, Amit, and thank you for your support for our league. And cricket is growing in leaps and bounds in USA, and there are a lot of exciting things I can talk about during the show. Thanks, Amarnath. Thank you very much for your support. I heard the coverage for last few weeks, and you're covering our league, and thank you very much.
We have a firm commitment here at Full Toss to cover domestic cricket. It's not going to be just international cricket we'll be covering.
Indeed.
We will be covering domestic cricket. It will be our firm commitment to encourage, give the adequate exposure to all the cricketers, especially the younger ones, because we want to build the cricket community in USA.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. Go ahead, Avinash.
Okay, you actually hit on a soft corner in my heart. Cricket for youngsters means always the passion. Everybody asks me, what is the passion? Why are you doing this? So my simple answer to this is, we chose to come here for our careers. We chose to come here for money and fame. And we bought culture with us. So we bought our religion, we bought our gods, we bought our festivals. And the next religion that we bought is cricket.
Oh, very well said.
And then the next responsibility lies with our generation is, how do we pass on this religion to our next generation? And that's where this league comes in. This league's, my league, the softball is a misnomer. We play with the hard tennis ball. And this is the form of the cricket that we used to play in Mumbai when I was growing up. That's the first thing you play in schools or in colleges. And that's where, our league is so popular because there are no entry-level barriers. The time limit is only 2 to 3 hours. And it takes just the ball and the bat to start the game. And this is perfect thing for the school kids to start. And I think I'll cover that in my future discussions, that what we are doing for that.
Now, Avinash and Amanath, we have a jam-packed show in our hands today. And I encourage you that you can also participate in any of the discussions that we are having.
Definitely.
Now, here's a lineup, gentlemen, we have today. We have England and South Africa.
Yes.
The match is poised at a very interesting scenario now. I mean, we'll talk about the scorecard. I'll let you know exactly. Right now the match is we're at the stumps. Day 3 is over. I'll let you know what's happening with that. Retirement news. VVS Lakshman, very, very special Lakshman. That's what he's known as in Hyderabad.
Very, very stylish too.
Either way you can say it. VVS has reported that now he will be retiring from all formats of the cricket effective immediately. That means that he will not be participating in the New Zealand series, which he was already included.
Yes.
So we'll talk about Lakshman's retirement. We also have to talk about now with the vacuum that has been created in the Indian team. We'll talk about the batting options that the Indian selection, the think tank they'll have. We also have our segment This Day in Cricket. Avinash, what we do is, for example, today is August 18th. So we talk about some of the milestones that took place today. We talk about the birthdays and obituaries. We also have our segment called Did You Know? There are some tidbits, trivia, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. We have that. And last but not the least, actually, that's the first thing we do, is the domestic cricket. what we have been doing now for last almost month and so with the cooperation of you and others in the leagues, we have been able to talk about some of the matches. And now, starting today, Amarnath has actually come up with this suggestion, and I loved it. I think it's a great suggestion, is we do Game of the Week. Mm-hmm. We started doing that, I think a few weeks ago, that we pick a
interesting
match and we talk about it. But now, with your help and other leagues, I think what we'll do is we have decided to fine-tune it.
We'll just give it an appropriate structure.
Indeed, sir. We have been talking about the great performers, whether it's batting, bowling, fielding, any other department. Whatever we can do here at Full Toss to promote domestic cricket at the highest level, that is our goal, and that's what we're working on. But gentlemen, let's get right into it. England and South Africa. Here's a quick look at the scorecard. Those of you who have not followed this match at all, briefly I want to tell you, South Africa in their first innings scored 309, a superb resistance from JP Dumini and Philander.
Yes.
Amarnath. Each scored 61, and rest everybody else. In fact, in this case, Amarnath, as you always say, the tail wagged.
Yes.
The tail wagged for South Africa.
And the wagging of the tail is very, very critical.
And it wagged to a point that they took them to 309.
After being 101 for 5.
101 for 5. I remember watching from that. 309 in their first innings all out. They invite England to bat. And once again, English weaknesses, the English batsmen were exposed quite early on. And in this case also, I give a lot of credit to Bell and Bairstow. I thought they played superbly in steering the ship for England and helped them to get to a total of 315.
They're also the tail wagged. In the second innings, currently at stumps, South Africa is 145 for loss of 3 wickets. And the wickets that are gone are Alvaro Peterson, LBW bowled by Broad at 24. Graham Smith, LBW bowled by Swan. Beautiful delivery that was. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see that. Yes, I saw that. He went for the sweep shot.
23. And Jack and Callis at 31. By the way, he was struggling from the very beginning. And 1 over of Swan, I was watching that. It was such a beauty. He had him trapped 3 times. All the 3 times he was given not out. Good decision indeed.
Amla also was.
Amla also was there. Now, interesting thing, and I want to discuss with both of you, what I liked about those decisions and what I liked about the decision for Strauss to not go for the DRS system. It just proved that how captains are now getting used to using the system correctly.
Yes, because if he had appealed, it wouldn't have been upheld.
If you notice Swan, they were asking him, was the ball straight enough or was it marginal? And he's a pretty animated character anyway, Grant Swan.
Yep.
So and all the decisions were absolutely bang on.
And the review would have failed, and they would have unnecessarily used up.
Indeed. So that's where we stand right now. Day 3, 145 South Africa in the second innings, loss of 3 wickets. Going into the 4th day, Amarnath. Your predictions, your expectations.
My predictions, predictions are always notorious. But
you can never be wrong if you don't predict.
Yes, nor can you be right.
Exactly.
Okay, now 145 for 3. That's roughly England will have to score 140 if the game ended right here. For South Africa, they'll have to see at least 2 sessions out. If they have to bat 2 sessions. If they bat 2 sessions, they can add about 150, 160 runs.
There's still some batting to come for South Africa, gentlemen. You have A.B. de Villiers, you have
Dumini,
Rudolph and Dumini.
You've got 3 recognized batsmen.
And now with Philander, you can have some hope with that also.
Yeah, their tail can wag.
Go ahead, Avinash, you were saying something.
I think what is important for South Africa is to stay there as long as possible and bat till the end. If they put 300 plus, you have to watch Imran Tahir in the 4th inning.
And now that brings to my another topic that just before you walked in, I was talking to Amarnath and I asked him your prediction. I knew what he was going to say anyway, but I really wanted to, poke him and ask him your predictions for the match. And he said England. Let's talk about that.
I said the edge at this stage of the game, 145 for 3. I'll have to give the edge to England. They are slightly ahead.
But the reason you cited was?
First reason I cited, of course, South Africa are well-known chokers. They choke when it... but then I have to make a small qualification. Now that Gary Kirsten has come, he might be able to mold them better.
I'm looking at the first few tests that South Africans have played. But another interesting thing that I wanted to share with both of you, the venue is Lord's.
Yes.
That's number one. And South Africans, except Graham Smith, none of them really had a good stint at Lord's at all. In fact, Graham Smith makes a list of very few batsmen to score, 200 plus.
Yes.
But I think, cricket is a game of momentum, and the momentum is with South Africa, not with
That's
England.
what I feel. That's what I feel.
So what I think is England is going to choke, because it's very difficult to bat on the last fourth inning if they are batting on the fifth date, and if there are cracks and the ball is really spinning and Dale Stearns comes in the morning, swings, gets quick 3-4 wickets, England is in real trouble.
Yes. It all depends on the fourth day, whether they collapse in the first session tomorrow morning. If they collapse for say,
I still have my stakes with Amla being there right now. And now you have, A.B. de Villiers. I think between both of them, I have a pretty strong feeling that at least they'll put South Africa to a defendable total.
You're talking about A.B. de Villiers.
A.B. de Villiers.
Some of my view of de Villiers, he's a great T20 IPL kind of a batsman. Great one-day batsman. Test match, I don't view him as a great test batsman.
True.
Okay? He scares as a T20 batsman. He doesn't put the scare as a test batsman, because all you need is one stupid shot to get out. In a test match, you don't bat 20 overs. You bat 2 sessions.
Indeed.
You bat 60 overs to prove your worth.
Now, real quickly, before I move on to our next discussion, I also wanted to ask you, both of you, about the English bowling.
Outstanding.
They have been absolutely on the money. Go ahead, Avinash.
I disagree.
Go ahead.
I disagree. For the simple reason is they are not able to close the game. At 105 for 5, you should close the game at 170. They are not able to close the game. So it comes back to a wicket-taking bowler like Alim Kumble, or you need somebody to close the innings, like Kapil Dev was in Indian team, or you go Ian Botham in English team. He will come in 6 wickets down and just close these 4 wickets. In both of these team, I find the finisher is not there. They get a new ball, they swung it. If they get the trap, look at Amla, the first test. If they play these first 30 overs with a new ball, they are dead. Both the teams are dead.
Yes, you have a point there that England let them off the hook.
Exactly.
From 105, they allowed them to score 309. But in all fairness, the weather conditions initially favored the bowlers. And at the time of the toss, it was not that visible.
Correct.
It was a very bright, sunny day, and that's why Graham Smith batted. In fact, I would question Graham Smith's decision to bat.
That's why I was heading to eventually. I was questioning the decision to bat that day.
The reason why I would have preferred to bat, because England's weak hand is batting, not bowling.
Exactly.
So I would have preferred to put them to bat, especially when they don't have Kevin Peterson. Put the pressure on their bachas right in the beginning.
Speaking of them, yes. I want to talk about number one, James Taylor. I've been following him not from now, but when he was playing county cricket.
Yes, he's been playing very well.
He's a phenomenal batsman, and in fact, I asked Vijay next time when he's in the studio, he's going to do a technical analysis on James Taylor. But just to give you a little idea, I have seen his county matches. I have seen the way he bats. I have seen the way he feels. He brings in a lot of excitement for a so-called younger English team now.
Yes.
And yes, I also agree that you cannot replace somebody like Kevin Peterson. That's one thing for sure. But bringing in an energetic player such as James Taylor, who's got his head on the shoulder, I think he's got a great future ahead of him.
No, but have you looked at the way Jack Callis bowled to him?
Yes,
I have.
Yes.
And have you seen the great piece of captaincy?
Indeed.
So they showed you how he got out.
Correct.
For the same pitching ball, which is an in cutter and going out, and introduction of Callis to the ball. And that's why I'm saying South Africa, from this choking label, is become a thinking team. They look at how the batsman got out and what kind of bowling changes needs to come. And that will help them in the fourth inning.
It'll come down to the fourth innings. And this is South Africa's great opportunity to show that they are not chokers. This is their, and also to become number one, you have to earn it. They have to earn this victory. They cannot just back into the thing, because I'm sure if rains don't come in, a result is almost a given in this test match.
No, but I again disagree with you. South Africa was never a choker in test matches. South Africa was choker in one days. They always came to semi-finals and never get to the finals or close the game. But in test, South Africa was always a great side, right from Barry Richards to end.
No, but recently, when Australia toured South Africa 2 years back, when they had defeated Australia in Australia, they couldn't hold on in their home ground. They have never beaten Australia at home, South Africa. They had many opportunities, but they could, as you said, they couldn't close the deal. So when it came to the critical matches against Australia at home, they never really. Same thing with respect to England. They should have defeated them twice in the last series in South Africa.
Now, before I conclude England and South Africa, this is a good time for me to bring in that. Did you know that I was going to bring in a little bit later on the show?
Okay.
Did you know South Africa have had 4 designated wicket keepers since they returned to Test cricket in 1999? Can you name them?
4?
Only 4 wicket keepers they've had since 1991.
Since 1991. Of course,
For David Richardson. David Richardson, he's played 42 tests. Mark Boucher, who retired.
Mark Boucher.
146. Then you have Tommy Solakli.
Yeah, the black wicketkeeper.
Correct. And now you have A.B. de Villiers.
Yes.
So 4 wicket keepers, and with Tommy, in fact, he also had a pretty good stint against some of the matches he played in county, where he recently took 8 catches in an innings.
Okay.
And so they are really grooming him, and but this is a fact. In fact, the only other teams they have come close to something like this is Australia with Ian Healy and Adam Gilchrist.
Yes.
But South Africans, they have this distinct record under their name.
See, great teams generally also produce good, stable, long wicket keepers. And the reason why in Australia has always done well is, more than the batting, they give emphasis, he should be a great wicketkeeper more than a great batsman. It just so happened they become great batsmen too, like Gilchrist or Healy. But their first emphasis has always been, you have to be a very good wicket keeper. Like Parthiv Patel for India was a good batsman but couldn't really keep wickets. And he was in and out. Though sometimes he was very good, he really couldn't seal his position in the team.
Well, friends, you are listening to Full Toss. This is your host, Amit, along with Amanad. And we also have a guest in the studio, Avinash Kaze of NJSBCL, one of the leagues here in New Jersey. And Avinash, real quickly, before I move on to the next segment, let's talk about your league now. I know we are a big fan of your leagues. I think they're a bunch of passionate cricketers. For some of the matches that we have seen so far in the past, I know he's seen Indus play a couple of times on his way back home in North Brunswick. I have seen, in fact, I used to play for your league. I used to play for Mahasisi myself back in the days. But let's talk about some of the teams that are doing well and that are at the above in the charts above. Now, you know them personally. We have seen them perform. Let's talk about some of the players that you want to highlight for your league.
Before going into the players and the details, let me just quickly talk about who we are.
Certainly.
And a lot of your listeners may not know this because we are kind of hidden. We are not in the mainstream. And we provide a platform to all these working people, which is a time away from family and time away from work. And in India, we used to have katta culture. That means after the work, you just go and hang out with people on the bus stop and you just forget about your family and work, and you are in a different land altogether. And my league provides that. So I'll give an example. The chief technology officer of one of the NASDAQ top 10 companies is keeping for my team. And then when he drops the catch, you just give him Maban and all that. And then if you really look them in real life, they are different people. So we take out the mask out on our ground. So this league started in around year 2000 with 6 teams. And this year we have 2 divisions and 84 teams playing.
Wonderful.
And
84 teams.
84 teams playing. And if you look at every Saturday we had 21 games. Every Sunday we had 21 games.
Can you just give us an idea of exactly the range? I mean, from Jersey, like,
Yeah,
which parts are they coming from?
I'm coming there. So what I'll briefly tell you what are our achievements in last 5 years. So we geographically spread. Even if it's called New Jersey Softball Cricket, we really represent 4 or 5 states.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
We have teams from New York, we have teams from Connecticut, we have teams from Delaware, we have teams from Pennsylvania. In fact, some of the people drive for 2 hours to play games.
I've seen that, Amarnath. What he's saying,
And
I've seen that.
They get up at 5 o'clock
Correct.
in the morning, and our game starts at 7:30. And we are very, very strict in terms of adherence to the timing and finishing of the games. So coming back, so what we have achieved, when we started initially playing, it was really for the mature young people like who wants to play cricket but cannot play leather ball cricket because of the time constraints. So initially the age group was around 35 plus in our league. But as we started playing and youngsters started watching us, and I'm happy to note now we have more than 24 teams where the average age is 18.
Oh, fantastic.
And they
Amazing.
That's wonderful.
They are born here and they don't want to go to the leather cricket, but they want to play cricket and they want to know more about it. So I'll give you one team, and you can look at the team's name is Legends.
Oh, Legends. Yes. In fact, as a matter of fact, we talked about them a few weeks ago.
So Legends is a team which they all live in Newton, Pennsylvania.
Wonderful.
And they from Newton, they come up to Jersey City to play the game.
Wow.
So
That's quite a long hunt.
Yeah, that's a very long drive.
And that shows the determination. And the average age in that team is 19 to 20. So they introduced themselves to our league and they came to league. And that same year they got introduced. They won the league.
Wow.
They won the championship.
They won the
Now,
championship.
this is the Legends.
This is the Legends. And if you look at Legends is leading the chart this year. So coming back, so the way we organize our tournament, we have 16 overs. We play with the hard tennis ball. We start between 7 and 8 in the morning. We are done between 10 and 11 in the morning. So it's a 3-hour game. And what we do is we have a main tournament. See, New Jersey, the limitation is we have 29 weeks in which the temperature is above 60 degrees.
Correct.
So out of the 29 weeks, we play for 23 weeks. So it's a busy schedule. So we start in second week of April and our finals are normally in first week of October or second week of October.
I remember last time also we had visited one of the finals.
You
Yes.
start in the second week of April.
Yes, we start in second week of April and we finish in October. Our finals are, so that's our main league. So that's the main championship. And everybody plays. Another important thing for us is it's not about money, it's about fame. Our league championship is a bragging rights, nothing else. We don't give any money. It's just an honor that we were NJSBL champion. And
If you remember last year, we had gone to one of the final matches, Amarnath.
Yes.
And I have seen the kind of excitement. The players, and not only players, the families are there.
yes,
That's what I was most struck about, that seeing families there.
Why do you say,
last year we had on the ground around 1,200, 1,400 people watching the game.
I think that it'll be. I hope you get good parking.
Yeah, we normally do this. Last year we did in Phillips Park, which has huge parking. Before that we did in the Culver Road.
I'm going to put you on a spot here, Avinash.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on a spot, and Amarnath is also here. You and I have conversed about this thing in the past many times, and Amarnath and we also talk about this thing. One of the things that I have seen, Avinash, we're into the 10th year now, full toss. We started 10 years ago. Vijay and I started this thing, and Amarnath joined us. And one of the things that I have faced myself, and you can support to that, you can talk about that, is a lack of unity between the leagues. There are so many leagues, there are so many teams that are playing. Now I look into USACA, and to be honest with you, initially when I started going on air, and initially when I started talking about it, and it looked like that they're running a 7-Eleven or some kind of a show. I mean, it was a complete poor management. And but looking at all so much of talent that is available, not only in the tri-state area, but if you go west, if you go towards the California side, or even Houston and Chicago and down below in Florida, there are some wonderful teams, and there are colleges that are supporting this curriculum. Mm-hmm. And what I want to ask you is, why can't we have one organization or a body that governs it, and get a status from ICC, so we can start promoting our youngsters and make sure that this cricket game which is here in the closets these days, we can bring it out.
It's not. I think I'll tell you. I'll share you some excitement development that are happening this year. I'm a proud servant of cricket, and I did lot of efforts in bringing cricket to the mainstream in US. So 3 years back, not 3 years back, almost 6 years back, we went back to USACA and said that you have to recognize this kind of sport and organize this. Now let's talk US at a national level, and then I'll come to the tri-state area. Now what had happened is USACA's internal politics has weakened that organization. So instead of promoting the game, they are really promoting their internal politics. And the result of that, what happened is last year's presidential election has dragged into long warfare.
We all know that. We all know that.
And
yes.
then
Yes,
at
correct.
the end, the election was completed, but a lot of leagues were not satisfied because they were debarred to vote in the election. So what happened is,
Now, are you registered league? Can you vote?
I had applied for registration, but somehow they don't recognize tennis ball cricket. So it ended there. But then what happened is all the like-minded people like you're concerned, the leagues were concerned. So purely from a cricketing standard, there were 48 leagues with USACA. So most of the leagues that have not participating in election has gone out and started American Cricket Federation.
American Cricket Federation.
So this organization has been formed.
AMF.
ACF. And I'll ask your viewers to go to AmericanCricketFederation.com or .org.
Now, who's this run by? Who are the people?
Okay,
who's it run by?
Somehow there are who's who in the cricket, part of ACF. Washington Metro Cricket League is there. Florida Cricket Group is there.
Right?
Minnesota. There are a lot of leagues. There are 12 leagues. And in fact, they announced their first tournament for October 6 to 8 that will be held in Los Angeles for T20. And that was announced yesterday, actually. So ACF is forming. And what ACF's aim is, forget about ICC. See, if you cannot put your house in order, nobody else.
Agree.
So we have to promote cricket. And what I am part of the steering committee for ACF. And my mandate is to organize all the non-conventional cricket under one umbrella. So here are what I am doing. So Venu from Dream Cricket is also a convener.
Yes, we know Venu. Right.
So there are a lot of people there. There's the ex-chief of Canada Cricket, Mr. Ahuja. He joined us. There's Professor Gangaram. There are a lot of big, like John Aaron, who was the secretary for USACA.
We met him last time.
He's our convener. So and in fact, John Aaron has been included in USA Cricket Hall of Fame.
Yes, he has been.
And he has. There is a party. The same. There is a celebration in Connecticut where he's going to be presented with them on October 6th. The Philadelphia Cricket Festival is part of ACF. So a lot of like-minded people have formed this organization, and this organization is going to go leaps and bounds. Now, what I am doing for the non-conventional cricket. See, there are three forms of non-conventional cricket that is played in USA. One is the hard tennis ball league that we play.
Correct.
So if you take people from South Asia who belong to West Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, they prefer to play with hard tennis ball. If you look at people from Bangladesh and East Pakistan and surrounding areas, they play with the tape ball.
Oh, that's
so what
you
they
just
do
mentioned that to me, Amarnath, that before you came in, right?
I played a tape ball.
So what they do is they put a tennis ball and put tapes around it and it moves. So there is a tape ball cricket. And there is another form of cricket which is called as softball cricket here, but in India we used to call it underarm cricket.
Underarm cricket.
So there is a huge underarm cricket tournament that happened in Florida. They happened in Jamaica. So there's a humongous population. So with my estimate, the number of players if you put who are playing non-conventional cricket in USA is more than 200,000. And that's
200,000?
Yes. And that's mind-boggling. And what I am doing as a part of the effort is, under the ACF umbrella, I am bringing all these non-conventionals under one umbrella. So I have already reached out to 14 tennis ball cricket leagues across the states. And if I add together these 14, I'm representing 100,000
Now,
players.
if any of our listeners right now, if any of our listeners are listening to this broadcast right now, and they want to participate in what you're doing, how do they reach you?
They can reach me on my league website. My league website is www.njsbcl, New Jersey Softball Cricket League.com.
NJSBCL.
.com. They can also find us on Facebook. www.facebook.com/njsbcl, and they can send me an email. They can also go to the website for ACF, AmericanCricketFederation.com.
Now, Avinash, stay with us. We'll quickly wrap up our segment this day in cricket. We'll take a short break, and we come back. We still have to discuss VVS Lakshman situation, and we have a couple of games that we want to discuss for domestic cricket. Friends, you are listening to Full Toss with Amit, Amanat, and Avinash in the studio today with us on Radio Dil, online radiodil.com. Phone number in the studio 732-800-1008. This day in cricket, August 18th, 1926.
1926. Okay, go ahead.
England.
Australia visited England.
Exactly. England regains Ashes with 5 Test cricket wins to take series 1-0.
Yes.
What I meant to say was that they win the 5th Test.
Yes, Larwood played in that test.
Larwood played in that thing, right.
Larwood played in that test and played a very key role in winning
Absolutely.
that match.
August 18th, 1934. Bradman scores 244 in the 5th match. In 316 minutes, 32 boundaries and a 6.
This was in England. Australia was England.
Australia versus. And the same year, same tournament, Ponsford and Bradman make 451 partnership.
That was a huge partnership.
In 316 minutes.
Yes, 451.
And this all happened on August 18th. Let's move on to the birthdays now.
Okay.
Born August 18th. Now, by the way, Avinash, I do not share this list with Amanat. He doesn't know what I have.
Okay.
So this is interesting. Just watch his reaction. This is what I love. I mean, I love watching his face when he gets all excited.
Yeah.
Born August 18th, 1870.
1870. That means he must have played around 1895.
He passed away in 1954. English cricketer Hugh Broomley, Davenport.
He wouldn't have played too many matches.
He hasn't. He didn't. Born August 18, 1908.
1908. So that means he must have played in the 1930s.
New Zealand Test leg spinner.
New Zealand Test leg spinner.
Bill Merritt.
Bill Merritt.
Bill Merritt.
Doesn't ring. He wouldn't have again played too many matches.
Hasn't. Born August 18th, 1920.
1920. So the
English wicketkeeper.
Okay.
In 1950s.
Godfrey Evans.
You got it, my man.
Godfrey Evans.
Evans.
He started with India in 1946. He played in the 52 series and 59 series was his last.
Avinash, you're the witness to this thing right now.
Yes.
Because listeners
amazing.
always ask me. Listeners always, like, does he read? I'm like, no, he doesn't.
read.
Godfrey Evans was the dominant wicketkeeper of England
Yes.
post-war. And
I'm saying yes because I know I'm reading it. He's not.
And he was a dominant wicketkeeper. And he was as good as any Australian wicketkeeper of that time. That time it was Don Talon for Australia. And till Alan Knott came later on, he was the most dominant wicketkeeper.
Now, Alan, let me finish this and I'll come back to Alan Knott because there's an interesting fact that I have for you also regarding that. Now, also born August 18th, 1923.
1923.
Wicketkeeper for India between 1947 and 1948 Australian tour.
Australian tour, J.K. Irani.
J.K. Jahangir Khan Rani, yes, you're right.
That's good.
Actually,
J.K. Rani, Jahangir Khan, yes, right.
J.K. Irani, but it was shared between Irani and P.K. Sen. I didn't know which one it was. We had 2 wicket keepers in that tour.
It is J.K. Rani.
J.K. Rani played in the first 2 tests, next 3 tests P.K. Sen. But he said, okay, I just took the chance.
You just remind me of one guy called Dwarkanath Sansgiri. I don't know whether you know. He was the first statistician for the Indian team, and he was like you.
Okay.
And in fact, he was here in US visiting.
Born August 18th, 1923.
1923 again.
Indian leg spinner of late 1940s and early 1950s. Indian leg spinner.
Who wouldn't have played too much? I'll tell you. If it was... it's not Subhash Gupta, it was before Subhash Gupta. Shinde.
Yes, absolutely right. Sadhu Shinde. Absolutely right.
SP Shinde. I don't know
walking
Sadhu.
encyclopedia, this guy.
I know SP Shinde. SP Shinde. I don't know
Sadhu Shinde. Sadhu Shinde. Now, another Indian cricketer who's also born on the same day, same year. Now they have 3 of them. You have J.K. Khan, J.K. Rani, you have Sadhu Shinde, and
23.
Now 20. He passed away in 1982. Is Jenny Rani.
Jenny, I don't know. Okay.
Born August 18, 1956.
1956. Oh, I'll definitely know him.
The great Indian batsman who scored 174 in Adelaide.
Patil.
Sandeep Patil.
More than 174 I knew.
Sandeep Patil. Also born August 18th, 1983.
1983.
Victorian captain and leg spinner of Australia. He started in ODI in 2005 is Cameron White.
Cameron White. Okay.
Cameron White.
Okay. He's more recent.
Indeed, sir.
In fact, one interesting tidbit. When I was growing up, I was coached by Anna Vaidya, who was
Oh, really?
Sandeep
Yes,
Patil's
yes,
coach.
yes, yes,
and
yes.
I bowled Sandeep Patil for almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
And
not bad.
That's pretty good.
got beaten very badly.
I'm sure he must have taken you to cleaners many times.
Yeah.
Well, friends, that was our segment, This Day in History, and Avinash is a witness to that today.
Yes.
Avinash is witness to that today. Friends, you can also find this this information on our blog, fulltosscricket.com.
Yes.
We're also on YouTube. You can log on to our channel.
Full Toss Cricket.
And on Twitter with the tagline Full Toss Cricket. Friends, you are listening to Full Toss. This is your host, Amit, along with Amanat and Avinash Gaze. Is that, I know I'm Maharashtrian, it's not Gaze. I know I'm
It's
butchering
Gaje.
it. It's
Gaje.
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 Because I want to make sure that I'm calling him his name the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Because I know everybody calls him Gaze. And I know it's not Gaze.
Yeah, I'm
Gaje.
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 Well, friends, we'll be taking a short drinks break. And when we do come back, VVS Lakshman.
Sure.
And others, and most importantly, we have our domestic cricket. So stay tuned, friends. We'll be right back after these short messages from our sponsor. Welcome back, friends. You are listening to Full Toss on Radio Dil, online radiodil.com for iPhone downloads, application known as Radio Dil. You can also listen to us on your regular phones, dialing the number 408-418-5000. For Android phones, application known as Tune Radio. Phone number in the studio 732-800-1008. Aap sun rahe Radio Dil. Dil se Dil tak. This is your host Amit. Would like to welcome you back to our second half. Amanat and Avinash, welcome back to the broadcast again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amit.
In the first half, we covered England and South Africa. We also talked to Avinash about NJSBCL, and we got into some of the topics regarding some of the newer organizations that are coming up. We touched base on USACA and how things are being managed. Things were managed then, and then how changes are being made now. We also did our segment This Day in History. Now, gentlemen, real quickly, I'll go over our next segment. Did you know? And then I want to get into VVS Lakshman.
Okay.
Did you know there have been 13 instances of captains scoring a century in both innings of a test?
13 instances.
13 instances.
I know Gavaskar did that.
Ricky Ponting is the only batsman to achieve the feat on more than one occasion. He's done it 3 times.
3 times, yes.
He also achieved the distinction of scoring 2 centuries in his 100th test.
That's really amazing.
That's amazing. Did you know Amir Ilahi, now I'm talking about
Pakistan. Pakistani bowler.
elderly Pakistani debutants.
And also he played for India. Amir Ali,
Yes.
He played
Amir
for India
Ilahi
as well.
was 44 when he played in all 5 matches of Pakistan's inaugural test series against India in 1952 and 1953.
Yes,
He was 44.
Yes.
Remember Gul Mohammed?
Gul Mohammed, he played for India as well as Pakistan.
Correct. He turned 35. His only test for them against Australia in October. And both of them had previously played for India, as you correctly mentioned to me before. And I already told you about South Africa. We already covered those Did You Know. So these are our Did You Knows for today. And you can always read them on our blog, fulltosscricket.com. Gentlemen, a news from India.
Sure, go ahead.
We had a suspicion this was going to happen. Everybody was speculating, but VVS Lakshman put all the speculations to rest today when he walked in front of media, and he has informed all, including BCCI, that he will be taking retirement from all formats of cricket effective immediately. So VVS Lakshman has taken the retirement. He will not be playing the New Zealand series. Let's hear from both of you, Avinash and Amanat.
It was expected. Somehow I felt that he would play 1 test at his home ground of Hyderabad.
I would have expected him to play in Hyderabad and retire at that ground.
Yeah, I think we were blessed to watch Lakshman bat. And I saw him in Wankhede batting.
Oh, wonderful.
He is amazing. The kind of timing this person has is mesmerizing. Like, there is no other word. And he is the savior of our team. Whenever duty called, he performed. And he's the only dependable guy in the Australian tour.
And when you said he's the savior of the team, usually he bats way down after Sachin. So after Sachin gets out, he is there. And he has to protect the tail and still bat. And that's why if he had come up earlier, he might have scored more. But he protected India from very trying situations so many innumerable times. It's indeed it's a great moment. I'm not going to grudge him his retirement because he has fully earned his retirement. We are very, as I said, we are blessed to watch Lakshman, and That 281 was one of the magical innings.
Avinash and Amarnath, both of you were fortunate enough to watch as so-called quartet. They talk about the bowling one, Bedi, Prasanna, and Chandrasekhar. And in batting now, you had Saurav Ganguly, Dravid, Sachin, and VVS.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to have that memory in my fresh memory about the batting one, and seeing VVS part of that particular form, and I think his contribution has always been great, and every Indian fan knows his contribution, especially when he played against Australia.
And not just Australia. This morning, as I was watching the South Africa-England series, during the tea time, David Gower mentioned about and covered it to quite some depth.
Yes.
And Sean Pollock was the one who said, I have played against him and he has got such superb footwork off the back foot. His strokes off the back foot are a treat to watch. And Sean Pollock had only word of tremendous praise for Lakshman.
Okay, did you know that Lakshman was in New Jersey 6 weeks back?
Yes.
He was here
I
for...
read about that.
Yes, I heard about that.
And one of our... See, that is the advantage of NJSBC. The hotel he was staying in, the guy I played for our league.
Okay.
He calls me. I was in Cleveland, Ohio. He says, hey, Lakshman is here.
Achha.
Do you want to get him for our game? And he went and requested him.
Okay.
And he said that, no, I'm on a private function, but he'll definitely try to come for the next cricket.
That's wonderful.
So this is... I'm saying that is how the cricket is living and breathing in this country.
Well, friends, now both of you are in the studio right now. Now, let me ask you one thing. Now, now since Lakshman is retiring, he does leave that place vacant in the Indian batting. Last week, we talked about the selection of Team India, Avinash, and we talked about some of the players, for example, Cheteshwar Pujara, and we talked about even Piyush Chawla was also included in the Test team. We talked about Virat Kohli. We had a listener who called in Skanda, who debated about Rohit Sharma's inclusion to the Test team. We talked about various different options, but now it is certain VVS will not be playing.
Right.
Now you have Sachin, Sehwag, and Gambhir.
Right.
Let's talk about who is going to fill that spot in for Lakshman.
For the immediate series, you mean?
Immediate series.
For the immediate series, it should be Virat Kohli.
No, Virat Kohli is already there.
Kohli is already there.
Let me give you my take. This presents a great opportunity. I'm going to play a little bit of turning around. You have to remember, Sehwag is a converted opener. He came into the team as a middle order batsman.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay. I would give Rahane the chance to open with Gambhir.
Avinash, that's where I was heading to. I am also pressing on Rahane to get a chance.
Rahane to get an opening spot.
Correct.
Push Sehwag to the middle order. So number 3 will be Virat Kohli. 4 Sachin, of course. 5 will be Sehwag. 6 will be Dhoni. Okay, so 6 will be Pujara, 7 Dhoni, and then the 4 bowlers. And the 4 bowlers, Zahir Khan, I'll take one. Umesh Yadav was the second bowler, fast bowler, not Ishant Sharma. And then I'll take, of course, Ashwin.
And Ojha.
Ojha is the 4th.
I have a different take.
Go ahead.
You're forgetting one important player, Yuvraj Singh. I'm waiting for his comeback.
I know, but right now for this...
No, not for the... That's why I asked immediate series.
Yes,
I'm saying taking the spot... Yeah. Yuvraj is definitely going to fill up that spot.
We love Yuvraj. We love his style of playing. We wish him the best. And if you honestly ask me,
I want him to come.
I want him to come. But
I'm the biggest fan of Yuvraj.
After the World Cup last year.
After the World Cup, I said I will never criticize Yuvraj ever.
He was on air when he said that. By the way,
I'll never criticize.
I have that recording.
After he delivered the World Cup in such grand style, especially after Kevin Peterson called him a pie chucker, the way he bowled the whole tournament.
Radio Dil, you live on air. Your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Skanda again.
Hi, Skanda. Skanda from Dayton, New Jersey.
Yep.
Go ahead, Skanda.
So, I may have missed something in between there because of the lag, but I know I guess Avinash brought up the Yuvraj Singh as a possibility.
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, I'm firmly against that. I think that Yuvraj Singh is a great one-day player, great T20 player, but he has had so many chances in tests, and I mean, I know we're going to have the Rohit Sharma dispute again, but...
I knew you were going to sneak that one in for me, Skanda.
But this is probably this is a lucky chance for him. Obviously, he's been in terrible form. He probably won't get a test, but as far as who should replace Lakshman in the squad, and now just because they've run out of other options, this is his best chance of at least making it back in the squad.
For Rohit Sharma.
For Rohit Sharma? Who?
Yeah,
okay.
But I mean, he's not going to be in the Test 11, of course.
No, he's not. He's not.
I strongly agree with Rahane being an opener. Sehwag is not an opener. Sehwag never had the technique of an opener. He's great when the wicket's flat, when there's no bounce and it's all knee-high bounce, and he can just whack everything because it's all in the bats in the favor. But I don't see how he can be a long-term opener for India. In general, it's a bad precedent that India has set in having Sehwag be there for so long, because he's just been bailed out by very easy wickets, easy pitches to bat on. Otherwise, if you look at how he's played in England, Australia, when the wicket's actually moving around, he is at sea. He's not in the class of even a Graham Smith or any of the other openers. So I really hope that
Skandar, I always enjoy putting you on air. You bring in a different angle altogether. It's a fourth dimension that he brings in. Well, Skandar, thank you very much for your comments. I do have callers that I have to take, but continue listening to Full Toss, and thank you for all your support.
Okay, thanks.
Radio Dil, you're live on air. Your name and where are you calling from? Radio Dil, you're live on air.
I think we lost him.
Well, you can always give us a call here at 732-800-100. Now, gentlemen, I'm unfortunately, I have to stop this because I am looking at the clock now. I really want to get into some of the domestic matches now.
No, before you go there, I have one possibility, and just think about it. India needs a specialist wicketkeeper. Dhoni should be a batsman, not a wicketkeeper. So what do you think about that?
You are going to start another discussion. Hold on, gentlemen. Let me just take this call. I know he's been trying to call us for quite some time. Radio Dil, you're live on air. Your name and where are you calling from? Radio Dil, live on air. Gentlemen, Amarnath and Avinash, I'm going to keep that discussion for the next time.
Okay.
I have to get in because I know we have so many cricketers from our local leagues. They're itching to see. We can mention that. Yep. Now here's a match for CLNJ, Game of the Week. This match made Game of the Week for CLNJ, and this match was played between the Middlesex and the Miracle Cricket Club. This match was Middlesex actually won this match. Gentlemen, they won this match pretty comfortably. Here's the scorecard. Let me read the scorecard for both of you. Go ahead.
The reason why we are picking that as the Game of the Week, because both of the teams were in contention for the playoffs.
Correct. Correct.
The winner would be guaranteed a place in the playoffs, and that's why there was a lot of excitement.
Another reason why I had also chose this is some of playoff kind of performances by some of the players here. And as we go through the scorecard, you will see what I'm talking about. Let's see the scorecard for Miracle Cricket Club. In 80 overs, this was 40 overs match for both the teams, and Rohit Pandit was bowled by Mohammad Asif at 2. Priyesh Patel scored 5. 20 for Kunal Chaddawala, 8 for Darshan Bhatt, 0 for Arpit Shah. Purav Pandit scored 6. 1-0-0-1-0 Alaskan weather report. Nothing much to talk about here. Okay. Let me just get right into the scorecard. This is where it gets bowling card. This is where it gets a little bit interesting here, Amarnath. Look at the bowling figures. Mustafa Khan, 4 overs, 13 runs, and he took 3 wickets.
He's one of the highest wicket takers, by the way.
Indeed. Then you also had Mohammad Asif, who bowled 7 overs, 17 runs, 3 wickets. But the man of the match here is Roshak Mehta. Look at his figures. 4 overs, 2 maiden, 3 runs, and 4 wickets.
Okay.
That's outstanding.
And very unbelievable numbers.
Outstanding.
Single digits, everything.
Now that's what you call a contender for playoffs. Yeah. This is how you play.
Yeah, they showed up for the game.
Indeed. And just looking into the batting for Middlesex, Amarnath, it was pretty straightforward the way they won this match. And here's a scorecard. Usman Chaudhary was caught by Purav Pandit, and Raju Panchal was the bowler. He was out at duck. But the two batsmen later on, 29 for Aslam Khan and Sakshay Vij, who was not out at 15. And Amarnath, this was all performances by both the teams. Congratulations to both the teams. They have been fighting neck to neck. In this case, better of them was the winner is obviously Middlesex, who came out as victorious. So congratulations to Middlesex, and we'll continue talking about them. And you know,
the other game was that Gymkhana.
Yes. Now the other game, Avinash, is for the same league, and it's the Gymkhana versus the Stars Cricket Club.
One-run victory.
One-run victory.
Both the good teams. I watched the game.
Yes, yes.
Oh, you watched the game? Oh, good.
No,
you
not
watched-
this game, but
Okay.
I watched Gymkhana's games.
Now here's the scorecard for Gymkhana versus Stars Cricket Club. Gymkhana batting first. This is a 30 over maximum game, and Navdeep Garoke scored 25, 29 for Dharmesh Tyagi, 11 for Saeed Ayazuddin, 46 for Asghar Kazim. 7 for Ubaid Razi. With their contribution, the score was 150 for loss of 7 wickets in 30 overs. And quick look at the bowling card. Kalim Ahmed took 2 wickets, 6 overs, 12 runs and 2 wickets. A wicket each for Adil Khan and Sarosh Nadeem. Now, here is the batting card for Stars Cricket Club. Navid Gul was out at 21. 24 for Adil Khan, 18 for Sarosh Nadeem, 25 for Kashif Ahmed, 17 for Faraz Chaudhary, and 13 for George Matthew. He was not out. 149 in 30 overs.
It can't be closer
It
than
cannot be
this.
closer than Amarnath. It cannot be. This is the second match in last 2 weeks that we have talked about. We talked about the Rutgers match they played against the Stumper Z.
Right.
And that was a one-run victory. And now
One
this
wicket victory.
one wicket victory. And now this one,
Oh, one-run victory.
one-run victory. These are some nail biters that we have talked about, and congratulations to Gymkhana Club for their achievement in this one. And going forward, I request our listeners, if they do happen to see or witness any of the matches, give us a call. Let us know. Let us know what they think, your favorite player for the league. And now let's go on to the NJSBCL.
No, before you go to NJSBCL, I want to comment on the last match.
Yes.
If you really look at Gymkhana, the Stars fielding, both the openers were run out.
Both the openers were
And
out.
that
Yes.
probably has bought them in the game.
Correct.
So it is very, very important that all the 3 departments kick in to win the game.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
and it's,
It's a
very
team game.
important.
It's a team game. That's
It's a
what
team
that's
game.
what I said. It's an all-round performance by the
Because
players.
both the openers looks like they were set. One scored 20 odd and the
Yes.
other was 29.
Yes.
And both were run out. And if they stopped, and that's why they got them in 150.
Correct. Go right ahead, gentlemen. Go ahead.
Okay, NJSBCL. NJSBCL, we have 2 divisions. Division 1 is 32 teams. Division 2 is another 52 teams. The way it works is whenever the new
Did you
team...
say 52?
Yeah.
Wow. 52 teams.
52 teams in Division 2.
So that means you have various
And
groups
they
in that.
combine from all different areas geographically?
Yes.
Or? Oh, wow. Wonderful.
And that's what I'm saying. So any new team comes in, starts in Division 2, and then we have ranking at the end of the year.
Got it.
Our top 4 teams from top 6 teams from Division 2 go up to Division 1 every year, and the bottom 6 teams from Division 1 go to Division 2. So if you really look at our ranking for the Division 2 right now, Division 2, if you look at the leading the chart for Division 1 is Toms River. This is a team in Toms River.
Correct. We talked about them last week.
And one of the good thing about Toms River is this is a set of all local businessmen.
Really?
And they are all actually belong to Gujarati community, and they are all shop owners. So they really know So what they did is they got a ground for themselves and laid down a concrete wicket.
Incredible.
A concrete wicket.
Concrete wicket. And then what they did is they sloped the ground in such a manner that however it is rain, it will rain like pouring everywhere, but we can play on their ground.
It means it gets the water
Water
clearance.
just clears out, and it's
Incredible.
a concrete
Incredible.
wicket. And this is a dependable wicket we have in Toms River.
So that means you can hold, you can be guaranteed to have a match there.
Yes. And they spend a lot of money on that.
This is
ground.
Toms River.
This is Toms River. And Toms River has been a consistent performance for last 6 years. They are reaching our knockouts, quarterfinals, and I think 2 times they came to semifinals. So this year they are looking good. Out of 16, they won 13 matches. They lost 3. The next is the Maha CC, which is again a very, very consistent performer in our league. They have won the cup once. They've been to final twice. Out of these 9 years, and this year again they are looking
I know Sandeep
very
is still
good.
playing for them. Sandeep Agarwal. I've played
Yeah,
with him.
Sandeep plays for them. Tom plays for them.
Tom plays
Amin
there.
plays for
Amin
them.
They're all wonderful players.
Yeah, they are very, very good set of players. The next one is NJ Stars.
NJ Stars.
NJ Stars was our winner for last year.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
NJ Stars is a team of again of passionate cricketers from
Amar, this is the same
Pakistan.
team that we witnessed last time
Okay.
at the ground.
And Vijay Gore is the one who is the all-round performer in NJ Stars, who bats and who bowls, and they have wonderful team.
Now, you also have a team called De Ghumake, right?
Yes, that's in Division 2.
Division 2.
I like the names.
Another one, cricket fan. Cricket.
Crickaholics.
Crickaholic.
Crickaholics.
In fact, Crickaholic has Srinivas Chira.
Okay.
I don't know whether you know that name. Srinivas Chira is an number one umpire in Tri-State.
Okay.
He umpires in all the leather ball leagues, and he's part of our executive committee.
Wonderful.
And his team is Crickaholic, and they have their own ground.
Good.
So the fourth one is Piscataway CC. Piscataway has also won 12 games out of 16. And one interesting fact about Piscataway CC is, again, this team is very young. If you can look at the age, there is a 23 to 24 year age. They're right from Piscataway, and in their team, everybody is Patel.
Everybody's Patel.
I will tell you.
Piscataway Patels.
Yeah, it is Piscataway Patels. So what was happening is Piscataway Township had an issue of giving permits for us. So I went back to Rajesh and said, Rajesh, I need signatures. So he said, how many signatures you need? So I said, I need at least 100. He came back with 600 Patel signatures. They're all residents. And the township mayor said, oh, these many people supporting you will give you the permit.
Wonderful.
600 Patels.
Now, where are they playing Piscataway, by the way? The main grounds?
Yeah. It is shared. The Piscataway ground is shared.
That ground, by the way, people come from various places early in the morning just to claim the pitch there.
Yes.
No, this is now permitted.
Oh, this is now permitted.
Yeah,
So
we
no
have
longer
gone are those days
now.
are gone.
Okay.
The days of hang fights.
Yeah, we have 3 wickets. One is reserved for leather ball cricket.
Correct, that I know.
And other 2 are shared between softball and leather ball.
Wonderful.
Piscataway is a very interesting phenomenon. These guys have reached our finals 4 times, 3 times. 3 times they have been finals, but never won the cup. So they are like South Africa in our league. So I am thinking these first top 8 teams, like the legends I talked about, Old Bridge, Josh, Woodlot. These are the team will make for the playoffs. These are the teams.
And when are the playoffs starting?
Playoffs are starting 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
The way it works is, again, I told you, right, 23 weeks. So what we have is, for first round, we have 15 games. So these 32 teams are divided into 4 groups of 8 each. So you play 15 games for the first round. So 16 2 halves, you play 15. And then you play 4 games for the second round. And then 16 teams qualify for pre-quarter final for the Division 1. In Division 2, we have 52 teams. Same thing, that 50, each team plays 19 games to qualify for pre-quarter. So it's a very, very long season, and we reward consistency. And there are a lot of rules that we have. So if you look at Division 2, Division 2 is led by Adro-IT. Adro-IT is...
Go ahead.
Adro-IT is Adro-IT came from Division 1 to Division 2 last year, unfortunately. Adro-IT is one of the champions. They won the championship in Division 1 for 2005. And they went to Division 2. They are leading the chart. GPREC is a new team. Spurs is a new team. Crickaholic came from Division 1 to Division 2. Spartans and Jersey Boy and Shaheen. These are the 5 teams that are going to... these are the 5 teams that might go to the Division 2 playoffs. I want to quickly talk about the top performers of the league.
Go right ahead, Avinash.
Yeah.
I have 1 more minute left.
Okay. The top performer of the league is... We have Sunil. We have Sunil Patel from Toms River 11, who played 15 games, scored 292 runs with within 35 balls, 11 fours and 18 sixes.
Indeed, wonderful.
And then we have Gary Patel from Legends, who scored 287 runs. We have Ravinder Uri from Woodlot. He used to play for Adro-IT earlier, and he scored 281 runs. And if you go to our website, njsbcl.com...
That's what I wanted to get into, actually.
Yeah, if you go to our website, you can see all the statistics. We have last 5 years of statistics. So you can do statistics on a player and a team and a division.
All friends, gentlemen, unfortunately, that's all the time we had left for today. I request Avinash you to come back to our studios again, and there's plenty to talk about.
Yes.
I think this was not a sufficient time we had today.
I wanted to cover something for the Millennium League and also the Umpires League.
Umpires League also.
So next time
Not only that, even with NJS BCL, there are so many things that... so I do request you to come back to our show in future, and let's talk about it. Friends, you were listening to Full Toss on Radio Dil. This is your host Amit along with Amanad, and we also had privilege of having Avinash in the studio. Go ahead.
I would like to thank you, Amit and Amarnath, for getting me on this show, and I also want to thank your listeners. And I would appeal all your listeners or who is listening to this show is please promote cricket. And how you are going to promote cricket? Visit all the leagues' website. Visit the blogs. Promote the cricket in schools. If you you are paying taxes as anybody else in US. It is your right to demand for grounds. It is your right to ask the school district why cricket is not part of the sports in my physical education. As a part of the promotion of cricket, what we are doing is we are reaching to all the school boards and promoting cricket in middle school and high schools. So what I would like to see is in the state of New Jersey, where there is so much of South Indian population, we should have a Kanga League or Guys Shield like what we has to in Bombay. Why we do not have a school cricket? And we'll start with tennis ball and migrate to leather ball cricket. And that is where our effort is right now. We are fighting with all the school boards to get cricket into schools.
Now, I'm glad Avinash mentioned that, and I'm glad that. But you can always log on to their websites, and I'll give you Avinash's www.njsbcl.com. Friends, I want to thank you for your participation, your commitment in supporting a show like Full Toss for so many years, and we sincerely thank you for doing that. But above all, Amarnath, I want to thank you for your contributions, expertise, your knowledge you bring to this table. It makes it absolutely much more interesting.
It's my pleasure and privilege.
And Avinash, I want to thank you for you taking the time out. I know you are super busy, and especially I have called you in the middle of your season when you're about to get into the playoffs. We wish you the best. We have always told you that we are committed in promoting leagues such as yours, and will continue doing that. And I think it gives us a great pleasure when you come and talk about some of the great players, some of the great teams, and how cricket is being played overall. It just makes our talking 1 hour absolutely worthwhile.
Yes, and it's all part of our commitment towards domestic cricket.
Well, friends, we'll be back here next Saturday afternoon, same time, 2 to 3. Till then, everybody, have a fantastic evening and weekend.